I'm here in the south of the Netherlands, near a town called Tilburg. I'm at the Trappe Brewery, which is located at the Koningshoeve Monastery. The monastery and the brewery have been here since the late 19th century. However, about 15 years ago, the brewery was in a lot of trouble. Financially, it wasn't performing very well, they were simply losing money. Paradoxically though, for the last 5-6 years, since the onset of the economic crisis in 2008, they've been showing very strong growth. In fact, for the last 5-6 years, they've been showing double-digit growth every year. Let's find out what the brewery does in order to show these very strong growth figures.
When I arrived here 15 years ago, there was a big gap between Abbey and brewery. The cooperation was not that good. So in the beginning I spent a lot of time with talking with the monks, how they lived, why they went to the monastery, about their lives. And that's very important, of course, if you want to build a brand like La Trappe. The financial situation was very bad. That's why the monastery tried to find a partner for the future. The brewery made losses, and that's of course not the idea about having a brewery for an abbey, because abbey needs money to live and to give to charity, and at that time it was the other way around. So also when we started cooperation we were making big losses. The influence of the monastery is very big. First of all, the brand La Trappe is their property. Also all the buildings are their property. So that's very important. And some years ago the abbot said to me, Thijs, we want you to take care of everything that God has given us. So that's, of course, it starts always with the people. That's for them the most important thing, to take care of the people. And then, of course, you have the environment, very important. And that's why here we started a long time ago with sustainable management. It was not that we said it's good for the company, no, it was, for us it was very easy to start with because it's their philosophy.
La Trappe operates as an autonomous division of the Dutch beer brewer Bavaria. Thijs and his team understood that if they wanted La Trappe to become profitable and grow, they would have to communicate to consumers not only what the product was, the beer, its taste and its price, but also make them see the process behind the product, how it was produced, by whom and with what philosophy. For example, they would have to communicate what it takes to be formally recognized as a Trappist beer.
Well, one of the most important things is tell the 3 rules of the Trappists. So there's 3 rules to be a Trappist brewery, and we really want to tell people that because a lot of people don't know, and that's why a lot of people don't know why a Trappist brewery is unique, because they don't know about the 3 rules. So they don't know what the difference is between a Trappist brewery and an Abbey brewery. And that's one of the main goals for us in marketing, to educate our consumers. One is that you have to brew the beer between the walls of the Abbey. So if you have an Abbey but you brew in a factory 200 miles further away, then you're not a Trappist brewery. And the second is that you have to brew under supervision of the monks. So Brother Isaac always checks the quality and the planning and everything, and he's also one of the directors. And the third is to donate to charity. So we have a daughter monastery in Uganda, to which we give a part of the proceeds. I think marketing for La Trappe is very different than other brands, especially beer brands, because you really have to try to have the values of the monks in your brand and keep them. And it's always looking for being commercial but not too commercial, because you have to, of course, sell your beer, but watch out that you're not too commercial selling the beer. So we try to just tell the story of the monks and keep it simple and especially keep it true. So don't make anything up and don't misuse the monks to sell the beer, because that's a very important thing. We can't use the religious part of the monks to sell the beer. So it's always searching for the middle way, and so on the one hand tell the story, but don't misuse the story.
The monks have a very clear set of values. There's the value of soberness or moderation. There's the value of long-term sustainability. They also have a very clear value of taking care of each other and others. And certainly they have the value that you're allowed to enjoy God's creation, as they put it. You're allowed to enjoy life. Those values also permeate the organization of the brewery. You don't see anywhere a plaque on the wall that says, these are our values, but everybody knows them and everybody understands them. Importantly, you do see the values in the various choices they make for this company, in strategic choices, marketing, operations, technology, HR, and so on. For example, you see a lot of solar panels all over the roofs. You see them use very energy efficient technology. You see HR policy where they also employ people with disabilities and other learning difficulties. And you see the values in the product. They prefer organic products. You see it in marketing, which should not be too flashy, and so on. So this set of values is translated in a lot of business choices.
Well, it all starts with the people. We have to take care of all our employees. That's very important, that they feel at home here and that they have a very good working spot. Also for people with handicaps. We have some people working here with handicaps. And that gives you something special in the company. Taking care of other people is very important, and you see that everybody is growing in that role. And if people individually grow, the whole company grows. That's I think the most important thing you see through the influence of the monastery.
I think it's a very unique company to work for, because we have to cooperate not only with people from the office, but also salesmen, which is a totally different kind of person, and also people from brewery and bottling room, which are also really different people. Then you have the tasting room, which are of course people working in the hospitality sector, which are again different kinds of people. And then you have the monks, which are again very different sorts of people. So you have 5 different people working together. You all have the same goal, but you all think differently how to get there. So it's really interesting to get them all together and go forward. And especially the monks for marketing is very important, because they are brand owner. So we have to talk to them a lot about how they think about the brand and how they want the brand to get into the market. So I don't think there's another company that's so unique in that way.
My job is I'm the leader of the filling department, where we fill the bottles, the La Trappe and the barrels. So we have 3 lines, the small bottles, 30 and 33 centiliters, and for 75 centiliter, and we have a line where we fill the barrels, 20 liters the most of. And the decisions we take of our own, and the director of the fabric gives the confidence to us. So we have much confidence to do the things by ourselves.
Yes, my function is technical operator. We operate the bottle factory. I can honestly say this is one of the most unique places in Holland to work. We have a very small team with colleagues to work with, but not many people have the honor to be part of this brewery in combination with the monastery. So it's very special.
We do see the monks every week, and I think they try to tell us about their values. So I learn a lot from them, because they're very smart people and they really think things through. And I think you can learn a lot about that, because a lot of people just say things without thinking about it nowadays. And I think they're very valuable in that, because sometimes they ask you very critical questions, and that way you start thinking about things.
The monks expressed strong preferences in terms of marketing. No flashy campaigns, no elaborate marketing. They wanted to keep things moderate and subdued. This placed Thijs and his team in a bit of a conundrum. How do you make the brand known if you cannot do a lot in terms of marketing? But then they had an idea. The monks did agree to having what they called tasting room on the premises. Basically a lunch room, but also where you can drink the beer and sample the products. First it was a small building, and now here behind me you see what is a dedicated building for that. However, this became a runaway success. Nowadays no less than 125,000 people every year visit the tasting room. This had the advantage that they did not only get to know the product, but they were also shown a film of the monastery and the brewery. Quite a few people would indeed sample the product, like the monks themselves, but also go on a tour of the brewery. Meaning that they would also learn the story behind the product. They would learn about the values of the monks, the involvement of the monks. They would learn about the sustainability of the whole enterprise. And this is exactly the type of brand image that Thijs and his team wanted to communicate to people.
The tasting room is the best marketing instrument we have right now, because it tells people the story about the brand and about our values as a Trappist brewery. So every year there's 120,000 visitors here, and once they've been here and they saw the brewery and they saw the movie about the Abbey and they tasted the beer, they became real fans and they tell about it to their friends and families, and they come here as well. Dutch people, but also a lot of people from abroad, and I think that's the best way people get to know the brand.
In 2008, the global economic crisis began to affect the Dutch economy severely. Many of the luxury and specialty products on the market were among the hardest hit. However, paradoxically, La Trappe started growing. In fact, the company has grown double digits every year since the start of the recession, with an increasing proportion of its produce going into exports.
Export to about 60 countries now, from China to Russia, from America to Spain. It's very diverse. And the biggest one is, of course, Belgium, because it's a real beer country. But also Brazil and Italy are very big. And every country has its own importer. So we contact them with regard to sales and marketing and logistics. And then they take care of the country and they distribute through the whole country. Both sides, they approach us and we approach them, but they have to have a certain amount of quality. So they have to have their own sales on trade and off trade. They have to have their own marketing. So we do ask a lot of things from them. We don't just get a partnership with every kind of importer that wants to import our beer. So we want to have a partner that is also has the same values as us.
Well, first of all, over the last 5-6 years we did very well. To be a sustainable company has a hard side and a soft side, as I always call it. The soft side is taking care of people. You cannot, our controller cannot count this. It's very difficult to see results on that. But on the other hand, you have also the hard side of being a sustainable company, in that you can see in using less water, using less energy. And our consumers, they see that and they like that. And I think they see La Trappe as a brand that really stands for values, good values. And well, then it's very nice to see altogether that we have doubled our sales over the last 6 years. And we are now a very healthy, financially healthy company with a lot of trust in the future.
The values of this company you see translated in lots of choices in this firm. First of all, the product itself. They're trying to make an organic product with natural ingredients. But you see it in the marketing. No flashy marketing campaigns, not too much advertising. It's all a bit subdued. You see it in the production process. They use energy efficient technology. They have lots of solar panels. You certainly also see it in human resources. For example, sick leave is very low. It's at less than 1% every year. You see it even in supplier management. They source directly from the farmers and they pay them a very good price. You see it in personnel policy. They employ various disabled people and people with learning difficulties. They have them on the payroll, and they sometimes have them from the social work experience center just outside the gates. So you see all the values translated in very concrete choices within this organization, which as a consequence of that are all very consistent and fit very well together.